Halftime, Johnny Mac, football 24/7 here on JAKIB Sports. Eagles versus Browns. One half is in the books. It's 14-13. Eagles have the lead. John, what are your first takeaways from the first half? A couple different things I saw. I want to touch on you, but I'll kick it to you. What's your first takeaways in the first half?
Well, Gamer Gardner showed up. We were talking about his poor summer in the pregame show in practice, and it has been poor in practice. And you kind of saw Gardner Minshew getting the start, obviously, without Jalen Hurts, and different player. And he was very good running that RPO heavy offense and making the right decisions. Those first two drives, he went, I think it was 31 plays, 2 touchdowns. So, all those third down conversions, the fourth down conversion, pretty impressive. And then the third drive, he went 12 plays. And they went for it on fourth down inside the 5-yard line. So he moved the football again. The only bad part was that last throw on the fourth down. That should have been a pick six going the other way. But that's a pretty good half for Gardner Minshew. And if you're an Eagles fan, hey, he played the whole first half and kept you away from Reed Sinnett and Carson Strong. So that's a
and it's good to see that he still has it. I think maybe some people were wondering, I don't know how committed to football is Gardner. He looked good out there, definitely, like you said, in those 3 drives. He moved the ball very well. What'd you think of Jurgens is getting a lot of love. Andre Dillard looked pretty good out there.
Cam looked great from the first offensive play, man. That was pretty impressive.
It's scary how much he looks like Jason Kelce already.
Yeah, it's unfair to compare him to Jason Kelce, but it's also, unfair to expect people not to compare him to Jason Kelce when he makes plays like that. Now it is, again, it's the second team defense against Cleveland. They're not playing starters either, but he's been good, man. He's been good. And if you look at the top, we talked before about looking at the rookies. The defense not as good. Jordan Davis doesn't dominate, and when he doesn't dominate, it seems like the lack of size of Nakobe Dean gets exposed a little bit, and I think you saw that because Cleveland moved the football too. I mean, they were a yard away. Josh Dobbs was, really good as well. They were a yard away from taking the lead at halftime. So great for the offense, the second team. Not so great for the defense, the second team.
What'd you see on the safeties? We talked about that, and I guess you could say the cornerbacks. The Eagles secondary, we talked about it coming in. It's kind of a weakness, you could say, on the team. That second, the secondary, the second and third stringers. What'd you take away? Anything good? Anything bad? What stood out?
Well, good is the pregame coin toss, which the captains were Gardner Minshew, Sean Bradley, and Josiah Scott. So I think that is a really good sign for Josiah Scott.
He had a hard hit there. Looked like he got banged up.
Yeah, he got banged up, but he looks like he's okay. Looks like he has solidified his spot on this team. Your guy, Josh Jobe, another Alabama guy. And he made the play sort of at the end when Cleveland tried to punch it in. I think there were 4 seconds left, had nice coverage. I thought, and he started on the second team as an undrafted rookie. So I think it's pretty clear that he's on track to make this football team. And I think that's a bit of a surprise. Yeah, but not great from the defense overall. But, it's the second team, so it wouldn't be too over. But if you're going to be excited about the offense, you got to point out the defense wasn't great.
Yeah, and I did say something you said that also stood out to me. Boy, Nakobe Dean, he looked small out there. I don't know if it was a camera angles. A couple of times I saw him, I'm like, man, he does look small. Now he's a very talented player and a smart guy, so he might be able to compensate for that. But you do got to wonder about that. John, I want to hit you with your boy Deion Kane. We talked about him before the game. Boy, those are some nice catches. A nice
back shoulders. You show the chemistry, with Deion Kane. And Nick Sirianni likes him a lot. He had him in Indianapolis as well. So we talked about Jalen Reagor. Quez Watkins played. Jalen Reagor played. Few of the so-called, well, in Quez's case, he'd be considered a starter. So Some guys have to play, but if the Eagles do move Jalen Reagor, I think Deion Kane is solidifying himself as sort of that next receiver that might make the football team if those kind of dominoes fall. If you got to keep 6 receivers, I don't know if you can do that. But maybe he can. Maybe 3 running backs. We should also mention Kenny Gainwell played well.
Yeah.
Boston Scott was great as the starter. I think that first drive was I think 14 plays and he touched it 11 times.
Yeah, it was quite the
and
workload for him. Yeah.
and he had a 4th down conversion that was sort of extra effort. It was all Boston, and he had the touchdown as well. So, and then Kenny Gainwell came in, and he has not had a good summer. But maybe he's a gamer. So maybe it's Gamer Gardner and Gamer Gainwell because they look better when things are live.
Yeah, I wonder, John, looking at the whole pie and how Howie's going to view those receivers. We talked about Reagor. We talked about Kane. If Kane shows enough here to, show that the drop off from Reagor to Kane is not significant enough, perhaps Howie sees a trade differently. He might not want to take a 3rd rounder right now, but if he feels like Kane's going to give him the same amount, they might be more comfortable recovering that asset. Fair to say?
Yeah, I don't think so for this reason. I mean, typically when you get down to the 5th receiver, look, you don't want to be in the position you are with Jalen Reagor because he's a 1st-round pick and you expected more. So, but if you take that out the window, if you just put that aside, and I know it's difficult, but if you do, you're looking at the 5th wide receiver. He's got to help you in other areas. And Jalen's the primary punt returner, the primary kick returner, even though people don't like that. Deion Kane can't do that. He's not really a coverage guy, Deion Kane. So where is he going to help you in that aspect? And that's where you need that 5th receiver to contribute. And that's why I don't see – I've seen a couple people say you have to keep Deion Kane. When you're talking about the 5th receiver, you're not –
there's a lot of context there.
Yeah. You're not worried about him being a part of the offense. So – you need something else. And typically it's special teams and contributions there. Jalen can do that as a returner. Kane really doesn't do that. And if it wasn't in other words, if they were both undrafted free agents or both street free agents, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. It's kind of the disappointment. Everybody would see it as obvious. It's kind of the disappointment of Jalen Reagor that fuels it, but he just offers too much to the team when compared to Deion Kane.
I know I'm stuck on Jalen Reagor today, but boy, that cut that little slant route he ran, I thought he had a chance to break free there and really show some of that athleticism that we had talked about in the pregame show. John, I want to ask you your personal opinion. Are we giving up too soon on Jalen Reagor? 2 years, only 2 years. A lot of receivers break out later. It's a new era of football. It's a new era of fandom. It's a new era where patience is at an all-time low. Attention spans are at an all-time low. Have we given up too soon on Jalen Reagor?
I don't think so. Sometimes guys need a change of scenery. I compare it to basketball and Ben Simmons. And Sixers fans are worried about what if Ben Simmons becomes a star? All right, well, you live with it. It wasn't going to happen here. It's not going to happen here. And the Eagles don't need it to happen. They've already moved on. They've turned the page. They have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. They don't need it to happen. So could he turn the page and become at least people make the Nelson Aguilar comparison? Yeah, if somebody gets hurt. If not, no, because he's not going to have the opportunity to play enough. Can he do it in another city? Yes, but why do you care at that point? It wasn't going to work here. So,
yeah,
if he goes somewhere else, just like with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, I'm rooting for him. He's a hard worker. Just didn't work out here. But he remains a part of the team for now, unless they can trade him because of his value as a returner, which I know is going to upset people. But Deion Kane can't help you in return games.
Yep, makes sense. All right, John, second half coming up. I'll let you get back to it. We'll be back for a brief post-game show as well. Enjoy the second half, my friend. Great halftime report there.
All right. Thanks, Zander.